If you're watching this, chances are you are on YouTube by yourself for a moment, or you're recording yourself on the camera, and in your head you have those fantastic images of decades of beautiful cinematography, and you see your images something like this, or like this, or like this. But in the end, it doesn't look like that at all. And you're trying to make your images recording cinematic, but they are not. I came here today with only one reason: to show you how you can take some cinematic shots on the location. What does it even mean, cinematic? Does it mean to find a great location like this one? Does it mean to use a mist filter or use natural mist like I have today in the morning? And you can see this aerial perspective going everywhere. The big close-up, does this make this whole thing cinematic? What it is cinematic? Some idea, something that binds together everything. This is what means cinematic for me. Tip number 1 is use your tripod. It might sound ridiculous because how it's even possible to shoot videos without the tripod. It will help you to compose the shots, even if you shoot something else like a landscape or birds or something around you. When you use a tripod and you put the camera still, you actually start thinking what's going on, what's the contrast, getting proper leading lines, and like creating this whole shot dramatically, like painting it. And when you have a camera on the tripod, you actually can relax and start thinking about those things instead of being afraid, am I in focus? Is my arm shaking, and am I actually in a picture? When you put tripod statically, you have this sorted and you can actually compose the shot. Tip number 2 is to actually use manual focus. In working professional environment, you use exclusively manual focus because you just can't give away this artistic decision of what's in focus, what's out of focus to the machine. So I believe that learning how to use manual focus quicker is actually very beneficial for us. But in the same time, when trying to film yourself, it's kind of tricky how to do it. I'm gonna, pull the focus on my face. You need a marker because you never know the perfect distance between yourself and the camera. And my solution is, whenever I'm in the studio, just using a Azaro head artistic model showing the planes of the face, but I put him exactly where my face is gonna be, so I can see the shades, the shapes, and I can also get a focus on the eye and exactly the place where I want. But when I'm out there in the wild or in the terrain somewhere, I just keep the focus on the head of my light stand. My light stand is usually attached to my backpack, so I just put the backpack in the place where I'm gonna stand in a second, and I pull up the stand and I can focus on it. Tip number 3 is shoot as much B-roll as humanly possible. Shoot more than you need. Shoot like abstract stuff. Shoot stuff that you're not sure you're gonna use. In the end, you're gonna have a variety of material that you can use. It's never gonna be perfect, especially when you shoot yourself, when you film yourself. It's never gonna be super, nailed, because it's like almost impossible to do it perfectly. Maybe you don't like the phrase. Maybe you want to change the mood and edit it in different way, and bam, you have B-roll, and you can switch very, very naturally to different shots. If you like what you heard so far, or if you found at least one good tip, please hit the like button. It's gonna help me enormously. Now, let's move to the tip number 4, which is shoot another take using different lens, like I'm doing right now. I shot the first shot using 35mm lens, and now I'm shooting using 55 and also in a different plane, telling the story slightly differently. You can also vary an angle a little bit, so going from here, let's say, pushing camera slightly here and looking in the same direction or changing the look. You have to experiment with that to see what you like. The best situation is when you can plan in advance and know exactly which shot you're gonna take with which lens. This will make your video look much more like a documentary or like a professional cinematography work. If it's like a short video, just shoot everything with two types of lenses, and you will choose different elements from different takes. If you want cinematic, it's not a Reels from Instagram style. Cinematic is about emotions, it's about what's happening to the man, to the person, to this object that we observe. It's about studying what we see and seeing it in a beautiful way. And for that, the viewer needs time to concentrate. When everything is constantly moving and jumping, you can't see much. You can't see much of this important information. Tip number 5, and in my opinion it's big, use static shots. And I know it may sound like a total heresy, because we're doing movies, we want to have some movement. But until there's a movement inside the frame, I would say, so your movement in most cases when you're filming yourself cinematically, until you are not moving, don't move the camera. So don't use sliders, don't use like gimbal following mode until you actually moving. You can catch the look of the street, and when the car is coming and you're catching this car and you're following the car and you're letting the car to leave the frame instead of setting the shot statically and letting car going in and out. But those two different approaches to the same shot give you completely different meaning. In the first one, when you follow the car, you know that this is the story about the car, so it has to be important in your scenario, in your story. On the second one, when you just let the car go through the shot, the viewer might not even notice the importance of this car, because it's more about the overall composition. Filming yourself is hard enough, and adding to another stress of controlling these automatic devices may end up that you don't make that video in the end, because you just don't have the time to act in front of the camera. Tip number 6 is shot longer. Let the emotions sound. And also wait, because sometimes something unpredictable happens. This is the beauty of making films. If you press the stop button too quickly, you will never catch it. And today we have digital cameras. It's not a film problem when the film was really precious. We have as much storage as needed. It's only the matter of being able to see it later on and go through the material. It's so much easier to edit, because you may want to have cuts in different places. Number 7 is to plan in advance, and depending on your project you can vary how much you actually plan. If it's something like a YouTube video, you can write a scenario, you can write a bullet points, whatever makes you feel comfortable. You may look for the location that you're gonna shoot. Yesterday was raining and there were some blizzards, and today, according to the weather, it's gonna be warm, so I know that we will have some beautiful mist. If you shoot something a little bit more advanced, like, I don't know, official advertisement or short, you may need to do much more than that. Just look closely how much has been planned here and then executed. Looks like a simple sequence, but consider perspective distortion, mirror reflections, in-frame movement, light directions, colors, textures, flares. All of that and more was planned. This planning actually allows a bit of space for improvisation. If you don't have anything planned, then it's not improvisation, it's chaos. And the last tip, number 8, is sequence is more important than the single shot. Doesn't matter how good this single shot is. If it doesn't fit with the previous shot and the following shot, throw it away, and it can't work, can't be in your video. Pleasure talking to you today. Now get out of here, go shoot some beautiful videos. See you next time.